This beautiful woman is Isabella, but she is more familiarly called Izzy. She is a professional hairdresser in a small, but well-known salon in New York City. Izzy is a very nice person. Wherever she goes she always gives donuts to the children and neighbors. That morning, when Izzy left for work, she was shocked to see her salon on fire. After the fire was extinguished, the assistant of the salon's landlord, Doug, asked for payment for the damage. So, she gives the money she had saved for traveling the world. On the other hand, in a 5-star hotel, there is a handsome prince from Lavinia country. His name is Thomas. At that time, he was visiting New York to attend a dinner with his fiancée's family. As he looked in the mirror, Thomas found his suit and hairstyle strange. But everyone always praised him without wanting to tell the truth. Thomas always said he wanted a haircut. Hearing the request, Walter, the prince's personal servant, immediately looked for the best hairdresser in New York City. Using Google Assistant, Walter got the cell phone number of the nearest salon. When he called the salon, it turned out that the phone was connected to Izzy's salon. Because Izzy had just been in trouble, she answered the call curtly. But when Walter said he was going to pay $500 for a piece, Izzy immediately agreed and hurried off to the hotel. When she got there, Walter took Izzy to meet Prince Thomas. Seeing Izzy's beauty, Thomas was very fascinated. At first, all was well. Izzy served the prince the best she could, because she knew Prince Thomas was an honorable man. But when she was cutting the prince's hair, suddenly the waiter accidentally dropped the drink. The waiter was furious. Seeing the reaction of the prince, who just kept silent even though someone was being abused, Izzy's view of the prince changed. So annoyed, Izzy even ordered Prince Thomas to cut his own hair. Then she left from there. At the salon, Izzy told all the employees about the incident earlier. When she was angry, suddenly Prince Thomas came. He had come to apologize for his behavior, which doesn't seem to care about the others suffering. Prince Thomas also begged Izzy to continue cutting his hair. Hearing the prince's apology, Izzy's anger subsided and she decided to continue cutting Prince Thomas' hair. When finished, Prince Thomas was amazed by the hairstyle. Now, he's really cool. Before returning to the hotel, Prince Thomas asked Izzy to accompany him for a short walk around New York. Along the way, the two of them chatted and joked about the funny things of the day. At that moment they became close.
What happens if we won?
I insist to give you a ride back to your salon.
Look at the stars. Amazing. Well, that's right.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Izzy. The next day, Prince Thomas goes to Lauren's house. Lauren is his fiancée. Prince Thomas and Lauren don't actually love each other. They were both engaged because their parents were betrothed. That day, Lauren's mother was talking about the wedding makeup artist. She is confused where can she find a good makeup artist for her daughter's wedding. Walter then suggested that they can use the services of Izzy's salon. Because yesterday Thomas himself had proved the results of Izzy's work. Hearing the recommendation, Lauren's mother agreed. That afternoon, Walter met Izzy in person to convey an offer from Lauren's mother. When told that the fee was $50,000, without thinking Izzy accepted it happily. A few days after everything was ready, Izzy and her two best friends, who were also the best employees at her salon, went to Lavinia. Arriving at the royal palace, Walter showed them their room. Izzy's room is separate. She got a much bigger private room, and Walter told her that Prince Thomas had prepared this room for Izzy as his special guest. The next day, Izzy and her two assistants were tested by the butler of the palace. The butler explained, before starting to do the makeup on the D-Day, the three of them had to pass the trial makeup on the three maids. However, only Izzy had good results and passed the test, while her two friends did not pass. They are required to attend training until they are deemed worthy of dressing up for the royal wedding. Because she was tired of waiting, Izzy chose to go around enjoying the beauty of Lavinia. In the middle of the road, she accidentally entered a small village across the tracks. The people there looked poor and much different from the conditions around the palace. In the afternoon, when they got home, Prince Thomas and Lauren met Izzy at the gate, who was giving donuts for all maids. Prince Thomas then introduced Izzy to Lauren. Not only Thomas, even Lauren, who is a girl, is amazed by Izzy's cheerfulness and kindness. In the evening, Walter reported that he had seen Izzy leaving the palace alone. Worried, Prince Thomas hurried to change clothes and then followed Izzy. When they met, Prince Thomas said that he would accompany her. Izzy was also honored because the prince wanted to accompany her for a walk. When Izzy asked him to go to the village across the tracks, Prince Thomas looked terrified. Since childhood he was forbidden to go there because the area was dangerous. But Izzy didn't care, she was still going there. Even though it was late, when they arrived, it turned out that the situation there was far from what Prince Thomas had imagined. The whole village was busy partying, enjoying food and dancing, even the children joined the party happily. Izzy said from now on, Prince Thomas won't have to be afraid anymore. She invites him to dance with the villagers. Finished dancing, Izzy was invited by a girl to see the conditions in her school. When she entered, she was surprised by the condition of the classroom where the children studied. All the students sit on the floor without a single table or chair. Izzy is concerned. Why in a country as beautiful as this there are still people who live in poverty? Izzy and Thomas looking at the beautiful night sky. There, Izzy told Thomas that her first love was her own father. In the past, when she was a kid, her father once came home on a white horse and took her around the city like a prince picking up a princess. Until now, that moment has been the most romantic moment in her life. Hearing the story, Thomas smiled. The next day at breakfast, Thomas asked the king about the reason he was never told about the remote village across the railroad tracks. But instead, his father ordered Thomas not to interfere in government affairs and just focus on preparing for the wedding. Although disappointed, but he couldn't fight back and he was forced to obey the orders of the family. In the afternoon, Izzy goes to see the palace gatekeeper for help. She plans to distribute flyers to the villagers around the palace, so that those who can afford to donate their belongings to help the children in the village across the tracks. Later, the collected items will be accommodated first in the gate guard post. After that, Izzy started distributing her flyers. Not only that, Izzy also asked for the help of her 2 assistants and the palace kitchen staff to make delicious food.
The music.
The next day, Izzy was surprised to see so many donations given by people. Not long after Thomas came, Izzy told him the plan. Thomas was even more amazed by her. He also wanted to donate some items that were still fit for use from the palace warehouse. On the other hand, while trying on a wedding dress, Lauren's mother accidentally catches Izzy and Thomas. Suspecting that they have a special relationship, Lauren's mother begins to follow them. After loading everything into the car, Izzy and Thomas set off for the village across the tracks. When they arrived, they were immediately greeted by dozens of school children. Izzy started distributing the items. Seeing the happy faces of the children, Thomas was happy. A lifetime to be a crown prince, this is the first time he felt the warmth, when he saw his people happy. But in the midst of joy, from a distance, Lauren's mother, who did not accept her future son-in-law being taken away, secretly took a photo of the 2 of them. The next morning, the king looks shocked when he reads the news in the newspaper. In the news, it is written that Izzy is an evil seductress who wants to destroy Prince Thomas' marriage. Suddenly, Lauren's parents came furious, then they ordered Izzy to be fired right away. In the afternoon, after reading the news, Thomas panicked and hurriedly looked for Izzy throughout the palace. But he couldn't find her anywhere. When went out, he is surprised why Izzy put her things in the car. No matter how hard Thomas pleaded, Izzy still had to go because she didn't want this slander to ruin Thomas's marriage. With a heavy heart, Izzy was forced to let go of the prince's hand. After Izzy left, Thomas realized that he had fallen in love with her. He then went to his parents and begged them to cancel his marriage to Lauren. But apparently the marriage was irrevocable. The king explained that Lavania was actually going bankrupt. If Thomas marries Lauren, then Lauren's family, who are wealthy businessmen in New York, can help Lavania's economy. As a prince, Thomas has a responsibility for the welfare of his people. He was forced to continue this marriage. The next day, Thomas and Lauren's wedding day arrived. In the room, while getting ready, Thomas asked Walter, should he marry a woman he doesn't love? Hearing the prince's question, Walter was saddened. Walter was the only person who understood Thomas because he had accompanied the prince from childhood until now. In the past, maybe Walter always lied so as not to offend the prince. But now, he felt it was time to be honest. Walter then told Thomas to go chasing his love or else he would feel the biggest regret in his life. Hearing that honesty, Thomas was very happy and he rushed to meet Lauren. Nervously, Thomas tried to tell her that he wanted to cancel their wedding. But instead of being angry, Lauren was actually happy. In fact, she also didn't want to marry a man she didn't know. Lauren even encouraged Thomas to go after Izzy to New York. She said that she would help explain to her parents. Meanwhile, after a long journey, Izzy finally arrived at her salon. As usual, whenever there was a problem, the assistant of the salon's landlord would come. Again he tried to blackmail Izzy. But this time Izzy wasn't afraid. Firmly, she said that she had met the landlord. And it turns out that the landlord is not angry at all but instead apologizes because there are often electrical shorts in the building. Even the landlord also said that he had repeatedly ordered his assistant to fix the electricity. Now, Izzy was threatening him. If he is still bothering her, then she will complain to the landlord. Without saying much, the assistant of the salon's landlord left. That night, the whole family, friends and neighbors throw a small party to cheer up Izzy, so that she won't be sad anymore. In the middle of the party, Izzy went out for a while to get some fresh air. While gazing at the beautiful stars, she suddenly heard the sound of horses' footsteps. The prince appeared riding a white horse. He went upstairs and approached Izzy. He explained everything, then with great gentleness, the prince expressed his love. They both kissed under the beautiful stars. That time, Walter and Izzy's best friends came. They cheered for Prince Thomas. Then Prince Thomas asked Izzy went around the city on a white horse just like the romantic things that a father once did to his little daughter.